Hey friends, are your goals aligned with living a meaningful, virtuous life? That's what we'll explore today by integrating Stoic wisdom into how we set and pursue goals. The ancient philosophy of Stoicism has so much to offer when it comes to crafting a life well lived. By applying its principles of virtue, self-control, and perspective to our goal setting, we can formulate goals that are not only practical, but also aligned with deeper Stoic values. Doing this has been a game changer for me personally. My goals now stem from a place of service and excellence rather than ego. I have a sense of purpose and meaning that goes far beyond just accomplishing things. In this video, we'll break down key Stoic ideas and how they can transform the way you approach goal setting and achievement. My hope is that you walk away with strategies for crafting goals that contribute to a life of wisdom, justice, courage, and moderation. Sound good? Let's dive in. The ancient Stoics saw living a virtuous life as the path to true happiness and fulfillment. By making choices and setting goals aligned with virtues like wisdom, courage, self-control, and justice, we can find purpose and direction. Today, I'll share how applying the Stoic mindset has helped me set goals motivated by developing excellence of character rather than external measures of status or wealth. First, I regularly reflect on which virtues I most want to strengthen in myself and look for opportunities to practice them. For example, I set the goal of public speaking regularly to build confidence. Second, when considering a major life decision, I ask myself how each option aligns with my values, not just practical benefits. This helps me make choices that feel meaningful. Third, I set goals focused on giving value to others, whether through volunteering, being supportive, or donating to causes I believe in. This gives me a sense of purpose. Fourth, I make time each day for reflection, learning, and growth by reading, writing, or listening to thought leaders. Feeding my mind builds wisdom. Fifth, I prioritize physical, mental, and spiritual self-care routines that keep me centered and energized to fulfill my potential. My goals serve little if my health fails. Sixth, I focus goals on developing internal traits like patience, integrity, and equanimity rather than getting attached to specific external results. The journey matters more than the destination. Seventh, I practice adaptability and resilience when goals need to shift. No one can control every outcome. What matters is making the best effort through virtue. And finally, I try to model qualities I admire in mentors and historical figures who lived with purpose. Their example guides and inspires me. Living and goal setting with virtue, as the compass gives me confidence I'm pointed in a meaningful direction, even amidst uncertainty. I'd love to hear how you apply principles of excellence to your goals and decision-making. Seeking virtue builds self-mastery. I'll share Stoic approaches that have helped me cultivate appropriate expectations and work towards attainable goals. Adopting this mindset builds equanimity and resilience. First, I reflect deeply on past experiences to gain perspective on what results typically occur for the level of effort I tend to put in. I look at both my own previous attempts at similar goals, as well as outcomes peers have experienced. Basing my plans on realistic data rather than wishful thinking informs sensible goals. Second, I take time to carefully consider and write down which parts of any plan I have direct influence over and which elements rely on external factors outside my control. Then I put my energy solely into the aspects I can directly determine and accept that the rest may play out in unexpected ways. Focusing only on expectations within my hands prevents wasted effort. Third, when making goals, I visualize and think through likely obstacles that could arise, both internal struggles like frustration as well as external events like change deadlines. I then creatively brainstorm potential solutions in advance, so I have some tools ready when facing inevitable bumps in the road. Mentally preparing for alternatives makes goals flexible. Fourth, I practice exercises like journaling to methodically imagine the worst-case scenario, best-case scenario, and most probable scenario of seriously pursuing a particular ambitious path. Walking through a spectrum of possibilities prevents rigid assumptions that things will follow one perfect trajectory. Expanding my perspective allows appropriate expectations. Fifth, for intimidating goals like writing a book or running a marathon, I break the massive undertaking into bite-sized incremental objectives that I can tackle day by day. Completing a small daily word count goal or running just 1 mile at a time allows me to stay focused just on the next tiny step. Small progress day by day builds momentum over months. Sixth, I make a habit of consciously celebrating even tiny improvements and giving myself credit for any forward progress. Fulfillment comes from enjoying the long journey, not just reaching the peak destination. Any step ahead is cause for encouragement. Seventh, I pay close attention to avoid comparing my own beginning efforts and struggles to other people's highlight reels on social media. Assuming others' success means I will have the same without effort sets me up for disappointment. We each have a unique path. Eighth, when outcomes take different turns than I had pictured and hoped for, I work on self-talk to avoid spiraling into self-blame and criticism. External factors always play a role. I remind myself I can control only my own continued efforts. And finally, I put concerted focus into being fully present and finding joy in the process each day, rather than anxiously fixating on trying to control every aspect of outcomes I can't actually determine. Letting go of attachment to specific results brings peace of mind. I can determine only my prudent actions in this moment. Realigning my expectations with realistic possibilities has allowed me to boldly pursue ambitious goals while erasing much needless stress and disappointment when things don't go perfectly according to plan. The ancient Stoics taught that true happiness comes from developing excellence of character, not chasing externals like wealth, status, and pleasure that can be taken away. By setting goals focused on inner growth, we gain purpose and fulfillment. Today, I'll share how taking a Stoic lens to goal setting has helped me concentrate on intrinsic development rather than seeking validation. This mindset has brought much deeper satisfaction. First, I reflect on my core values and think of goals that let me live those more fully. For instance, valuing service led me to volunteer teaching literacy. Fulfilling values matters more than checking boxes. Second, I set goals focused on developing character strengths like patience, courage, wisdom. Progress of the soul takes discipline but pays lifelong dividends. Third, I spend time getting to know myself through meditation, journaling, and reflection. Setting goals in line with your unique talents provides flow. Self-awareness is key. Fourth, I evaluate if my motivations behind a goal are coming from a healthy place or a need to prove myself. Am I seeking lasting self-improvement or temporary ego gratification? Intention matters. Fifth, I focus goals on gaining knowledge, skills, and experiences for their own sake. Learning to play guitar out of curiosity beats performing to impress others. Sixth, I remind myself that how I handle setbacks reveals more than external markers of success. Goals provide growth in perseverance and resilience when we fall short. Seventh, I avoid attaching self-worth to goal outcomes I can't fully control. My effort and character are always within my power. Eighth, I celebrate intangible progress, like enjoying the process, getting clearer on purpose, or building relationships along the way. The journey expands my life. And finally, I remember that making a positive difference for others is more rewarding than personal gain. Goals grounded in love reveal our shared humanity. When goals nurture who you are becoming rather than what you want to obtain, you can't lose. Living and improving each day is winning. What intrinsic goals have you found most rewarding? Please share. Time for a real talk about taking control of your time the Stoic way. As someone who used to constantly feel overwhelmed and scramble to get things done, I've learned a ton about time management from Stoic philosophy. The big takeaway, it all comes down to virtue. Let me explain what I mean. The Stoics believed happiness comes from cultivating excellence of character, our wisdom, moderation, courage, and justice, not from money or status. With this view, they realized maximizing virtue means being intentional with your time. As Seneca put it, it is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. Ouch! To real Seneca. So how can we take a more Stoic approach to time management? Here are 5 strategies that have worked for me. First, identify your top virtues to develop right now. Do you need more discipline, compassion, honesty? Make a short list. Then, take a look at your calendar. Block out time for activities that build those virtues. For me recently, that was volunteering and having hard conversations. Next, minimize pointless busyness that doesn't align with virtue. Be honest with yourself here. I had to stop doom scrolling social media. Also, embrace simplicity. Like the Stoics, resist overloading your schedule. Make space to reflect on what matters most. Finally, accept that some things are out of your control. Focus on making the most of the time you do have. Reframing time management around virtue takes practice, but it's been so fulfilling for me. I feel aligned with my values and less stressed. Give it a shot this week. Notice any activities that sap your time but don't build character. Then try swapping one for something more meaningful. Wishing you the wisdom to prioritize your time well. Changing course is part of the journey. That's a key life lesson I've learned from studying Stoic philosophy. With their focus on virtue and wisdom, the Stoics understood that adaptability and flexibility are crucial. As Epictetus put it, do not demand that things happen as you wish, but wish that they happen as you wish, but wish that they happen as they do happen, and you will go on well. I used to cling stubbornly to my goals and plans, getting really stressed when life pushed me in a different direction. But adopting a Stoic mindset has been so helpful for me in learning to roll with the punches and change course when needed. Here are some specific strategies from the Stoics that have allowed me to become more flexible and adaptable. First, they advise regularly assessing if your current priorities and goals still align with your values and vision of the ideal, wise, and virtuous life. Be willing to honestly modify or abandon them if they need updating based on new circumstances. Next, practice negative visualization. Imagine vivid scenarios where your plans get completely derailed or major obstacles arise. Visualizing misfortune mentally and emotionally prepares you to handle such curveballs. Also, focus on controlling the controllables, your own thoughts, actions, choices, and responses, rather than trying to control external outcomes. Accept that many things are outside of your control. When faced with unexpected change, take time to pause, reflect carefully, and get perspective before reacting. Breathe deeply. Then, consciously, pivot your response. Finally, remember that obstacles are just opportunities to practice virtues like courage, justice, wisdom, and self-discipline. Adapting builds character. Cultivating flexibility in this Stoic fashion has been really empowering for me personally. I can now adapt my goals and plans without losing sight of my deeper principles and purpose. Unexpected change is much less stressful. Next time life veers off your expected path, try staying open, pivoting mindfully and deliberately, and growing through the experience. You've got this. I want to talk about an idea that has really shifted my mindset, learning to accept outcomes rather than fixating on them. This is classic Stoic wisdom that has helped me immensely. Like most people, I used to be obsessive about particular goals and terrified of failure. If things didn't go exactly according to plan, I would spiral into anxiety and beating myself up. But the Stoics had a different approach. They focused on living virtuously moment to moment, not becoming attached to specific external outcomes. Outcomes may or may not happen, but virtue is always within our control. This mindset has allowed me to set goals and work towards them without self-judgment if things don't go as hoped. Here are some tips that have helped me along the way. First, connect your goals to virtues, not just specific outcomes. Am I working with courage or wisdom? That's what matters most. Second, avoid words like must or have to when setting goals. Say, I choose to pursue this instead. This gives you power. Third, prepare mentally for disappointments and failure. Use negative visualization to imagine handling them gracefully. This builds confidence. Fourth, when things don't go as planned, focus on what you learned. Everything is data to fuel growth and virtue. Finally, be radically accepting of outcomes, knowing you approached goals thoughtfully and gave full effort. Let go of what you can't control. Learning to accept outcomes has brought me so much more peace and power. My self-worth isn't dependent on fragile external things. Give it a try and let me know how it goes. Wishing you resilience and wisdom, friends.